two of the world's massive multi-trillion-dollar companies might be secretly going all in on Bitcoin. And a hint, one of those companies we're going to be talking about today was just surpassed by Bitcoin at a $2.5 trillion market cap, as the price of Bitcoin is going absolutely parabolic. So today we're going to be looking at all of the signs suggesting that Bitcoin might be about to explode. We're going to be looking at all of the charts, all of the data, and exposing these two companies that just seem to maybe know something that we don't know, because they are quietly making a move into Bitcoin. Let's listen to what Michael Saylor thinks.
What does the future look like to you with Bitcoin, with cryptocurrency in general? Where do you see it 5, 10, or even 100 years from now?
I think big tech is going to embrace Bitcoin. They're going to let you hold your Bitcoin on your iPhone, on your Android phone. It will find its way into Microsoft software, Amazon software, Google, Apple software. I think that banks are going to embrace Bitcoin. So your bank's going to give you a loan against your Bitcoin. It'll buy Bitcoin for you. Insurance companies will start to support Bitcoin. I think families will increasingly begin to see it as their savings account.
Before we talk more about the savings account angle, what were the two companies that Michael Saylor just mentioned? He said Amazon software, and you're going to find Bitcoin on your iPhone. Now, I think this is coincidental timing, considering what we're seeing right now and the moves that these two large multi-trillion-dollar companies are making. We can see that recently Jeff Bezos just sold another 665 million shares of his Amazon stock. Now, again, don't you think that's a little bit coincidental? Because just a few weeks ago, we were looking at this. I didn't make a video on this at the time because there wasn't really enough meat on the bone to make a video of it. But Amazon posted a job advertisement looking for a quote-unquote crypto expert. This was a few weeks ago now, so I checked back in on that original job listing and look at what I found. Oh, sorry, the job you're looking for isn't available. Don't you think that's interesting? I think that's very interesting indeed. Now, again, let's put all of this together. Recently, earlier in the year, Michael Saylor was trying to explain Bitcoin to Amazon founder Jeff Bezos. This was on Twitter. Michael was saying this to Jeff Bezos. But let's not forget, Jeff Bezos and Michael Saylor have a little bit of a history, not just on Twitter, but also privately. Because when the rumors were circulating of this new Bitcoin whale that had accumulated about $6 to $7 billion of Bitcoin, in the same year, 2023, and then 2024, Jeff Bezos had sold about $6 to $7 billion of his stock, Amazon. And look at where he was spotted. He was spotted on a yacht with Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor and Jeff Bezos were spotted at Bezos' fiance's birthday bash in St. Bart's. Shortly after, Saylor mentioned on CNBC how firms like Berkshire Hathaway and Apple, holding over $100 billion, are limited to only buying treasuries and debt investments. But of course, guess what happened just after that interview? FASB, fair value accounting, was passed. This now opens up the floodgates for companies like Apple or Amazon, who today are sitting on hundreds of billions of dollars worth of cash. We're going to get to just how much cash they're sitting on and how much of it could flow to Bitcoin in a moment. I just don't want you to forget the entire Amazon story here that I think is far more interesting. Let's not forget, recently Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin, that's his rocket company, began accepting Bitcoin. This was August 2025. So this is about 6 weeks ago now. But we made a video about that on the day that that announcement happened. And we were speculating, when Amazon? It's cool that, Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos' private company, is accepting Bitcoin for payment. But when Amazon? That's the announcement that we've been waiting for here for a little while. And I think now that we're beginning to see Bitcoin break all-time highs again, that's right, happy all-time high week, and slowly but surely climb this list, this is the list of the world's largest assets. You can see gold's number 1 for now. Then we have Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, Alphabet. Then we got silver and Bitcoin. And what I do think is interesting is Bitcoin just climbed above Amazon. And what happened? When did Jeff Bezos' company Blue Origin accept Bitcoin for payment? This is about 7 weeks ago. And coincidentally, it happened on the exact same day Bitcoin climbed above Amazon on this very list. We made a video at the time. We said, hey, this is coincidental. Since then, Bitcoin's had a little bit of a correction, but now we've climbed back up to that $2.4 trillion landmark. And again, just speculation, but maybe Amazon hired their quote unquote crypto expert that they were looking for, and maybe now they're ready to go into Bitcoin. It's just a speculation, but I think it's not the only very interesting speculation that I've seen over the past week or so from a multi-trillion-dollar company. So Amazon right now on this list, they are number 8. Bitcoin just surpassed them. But have a look at who's sitting at number 5. This is Google. They're sitting on a $2.9 trillion market cap. And what I think is really interesting about Google is they recently made a little bit of a partnership, so to say, in the Bitcoin space with one of the biggest players. Let's have a look at this. This is about 2 weeks old. So again, none of this is breaking news, but it's when you put all of these things together, you might have to prepare yourself for a lot of these announcements coming out like dominoes after each other when Bitcoin breaks all-time highs. Because typically the big guys, they will prepare for an all-time high break. And then when it breaks, they'll quickly announce, oh yeah, we've been in Bitcoin for ages. You know, we're pro-Bitcoin, and they benefit a lot from the publicity cycle. But we can see a couple of weeks ago, $3 trillion Google just partnered with Coinbase to add crypto payments for its AI platform. Google partnering with Coinbase. Don't you think that is interesting? I mean, Google, $3 trillion company, partnering with the largest Bitcoin exchange in the world. Do they know something that we don't? I mean, Google, Amazon, these guys aren't going to be making moves into Bitcoin if they don't at least know something that we don't know. And again, I want to play another video that I've showed you guys previously, but I think it's pretty timely because naturally, if you are the CEO of the world's largest exchange, you're privy to some information that the rest of us aren't. So let's listen to what Brian Armstrong said recently.
By the way, now that the U.S. is doing this, I think like the rest of the G20 countries and central banks are all starting to look at this. It just kind of instantly legitimized it. And, you know, President Trump, to his credit, he said he wants to be the first crypto president in the United States and certainly in the world. Like he's all in on this. He's like, America has to lead here. This is a technology to update the financial system and become a financial center of the world, which is important for American power. So he's kind of gone all in on it. And I think the rest of the G20 are now looking at this as a model to follow.
Man, nice work.
So why do you think that Brian Armstrong is so confident that the rest of the G20 is about to follow in President Trump's footsteps and announce Bitcoin strategic reserves? Again, if anybody's going to know, it's probably the CEO of the world's largest exchange. They probably are a little bit, let's just say, closer to the source than most of us. Now, while we're kind of talking about these big, large, multi-trillion-dollar companies, let's also not forget, again, lots of coincidences in the past 6 to 8 weeks amongst these huge companies. Apple came out and released an orange iPhone. Again, just another strange coincidence that we have orange iPhones being announced. The Bitcoin billionaire Michael Saylor has been bullish on Google and Apple for a very, very long time. And this kind of gets me to the part of the video where I want to get really bullish. We've done some speculation about Amazon and Google. I do want to weigh in a little bit more about what I think could come with Apple and Google in a moment. But I want to first show you some charts because I've been seeing some pretty bullish things. And you guys know it's October 4th. What have we been saying for the past couple of months here? Prepare for October. Q4 is going to be incredibly bullish. Most people were calling the top. They were saying it's over. Bitcoin stopped at 120K. The whales are distributing. That's what all the gurus were saying over the past couple of months. I'm not so sure. Again, could look like a clown in 2 months, but everything's looking pretty bullish to me. Let's have a look at what Bitcoin normally does in September and October. The average September returns is negative 4.6%. The average October returns, 27.7%. Saw this chart come out this morning. It was the first time I saw it, and I thought, hey, that is incredibly bullish. Another chart that caught my eye was this one right here. This is looking at global M2 versus Bitcoin. I'm going to try to make that as big as possible for you guys. This is the top one. This is global M2 versus Bitcoin. You could see Bitcoin just catches up to global M2. We're looking at $180,000 Bitcoin. It's kind of bullish, kind of interesting. And then if you have a look at gold versus Bitcoin, you can see Bitcoin typically follows gold on a 90-day lag, except if gold moves up by 100%, Bitcoin typically moves up by about 1,750%. So that's nearly a 20x. Now, right now, by the way I'm reading this chart, it looks as if gold's up at about 750%. Más o menos, or more or less, I should say. And that would imply, let me do some quick maths here. Gold is, okay, so gold's up about 50%. A 50% moving gold typically brings you about a 750 to 1,000% move in Bitcoin. Now, I'm not the one calling for $750,000 Bitcoin. I do think it's more likely than most people think. But I think this chart's an interesting one. What it does scream is if this correlation between gold and Bitcoin continues, wouldn't be outrageous to see a $500,000, $700,000 Bitcoin, especially when you consider what gold has done over the past year. It's seen a rally for the history books. So let me try to make this chart a little bit more legible for you guys so you can see what I'm working with. But you can see gold's kind of gone nuts over the past year and a half here. And even more recently, over the past 3 months, gold's rallied from $3,000 an ounce to $3,800 an ounce. It's essentially been, if we jump in here on the daily, up only. So look, if you expect these correlations to continue, things are about to get absolutely wild for Bitcoin. And it's kind of hilarious. It's not just me, crazy 28-year-old kid with a shit haircut on the internet, saying that things look wild for Bitcoin. We even have CNBC hosts saying some really interesting things that I want to play for you guys in a video that I saw hit the mainstream media yesterday.
Here, because we are seeing that similar kind of consolidation breakout, but we got some kind of bottoming. Take us through the price action here, because we are seeing that similar kind of consolidation breakout, but we got some kind of bottoming patterns of developing each time the consolidation happens.
That's right. So as we can tell here, it's a very clear bullish pattern. Now, the only difference between this one so far and the previous two is we haven't got the full extension yet. Now, there's a very important point here, is that the timing of when these breakouts occurred, which are at the very beginning stages of the fourth quarter, 2023, 2024, so here we are again right now. That's because there's been positive seasonality for Bitcoin over its history, over the last 10 years of in
the fourth quarter, especially.
In the fourth quarter, especially October. This is here we are now. We know Bitcoin's already up a good amount, so I think this has ability to eventually take advantage of this and much higher.
Okay, so that's the regular gold versus the digital gold trade. Let's clear this and let's put the comparative up, because the relative price movement can tell us something about maybe future performance as well. No guarantees, of course, right? The disclaimer is always there. But what did the pattern show you? This is the course of the past kind of year or so. What are you seeing here?
That's right. As we can tell, coming into the month, it was a pretty big performance gap, almost 20%, right? So there's a tendency to have this close. Now, we've seen this before as well, where it started off very similar, and then as gold stopped, this is when Bitcoin started to rally again. And of course, by the time you got to the summer months, those percentages were now the same again, which I think has a pretty good chance of happening once more. That could even, again, gold moving just sideways or lower and Bitcoin continuing to move higher. And I think you see that into the fourth quarter, into the end of the year.
So we've combined all of those together. What we are concluding with this is if the historical patterns have played out like they have in the past, we could see a rally for Bitcoin and a consolidation phase for regular gold.
Very well said.
Now we even have CNBC turning into chart boys and getting bullish on Bitcoin. It's honestly hard not to be incredibly bullish on Bitcoin when we just have a look at the data. Again, I've rallied on this channel, against the idea of these historical patterns, the power law model. I personally think they're all going to break, but I do think they're interesting to at least look at. And again, I'm going to show you where I could be wrong. I'm going to show you all of the data. You guys can make up your own mind. Like Cool Hand Luke. I love that name, by the way. That is a great handle. Cool Hand Luke in the chat says S-curve 2017 bull market according to CZ Binance. Again, CZ Binance, he's right about a lot of things, but let's not forget he's a shitcoiner. So he has been wrong about a lot of things. But hey, S-curve, I actually do think we're kind of getting close to that point on the Bitcoin adoption life cycle where Bitcoin does just go absolutely parabolic. And again, this is why I disagree with all of these models like the power law, the power opinion, diminishing returns, all of these models that say that Bitcoin's most volatile days are behind it. I just think they're ignorant of technology. It's as simple as that. Every single technology has gone through an exponential path of adoption. Bitcoin's total addressable market cap is $900 trillion. There's $900 trillion of wealth in the world. That's ignoring the derivatives market. So let's say because money's 1/2 of every transaction, Bitcoin's got a TAM of 400 trillion. We're at 2.5 trillion today. Why does it make any sense at all that Bitcoin is now going to be less volatile when it's at 0.2% market saturation? It's one of the most insane claims I've ever heard. I don't understand it. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I just need a PhD in astrophysics and I'll understand it. Who knows? I just don't think we're going to be seeing diminishing returns forever on Bitcoin. I just think we're going to see something more like this. Actually, I've got the perfect video to show you what I believe we're going to see in the Bitcoin space. I think we're going to see parabolas that's going to melt faces. Again, it's not popular to say that the power law is a shitcoin, and I think that model's going to break. I mean, you've seen it. It's it's a very popular model in the space, and I get attacked every time I talk out against it. But I just don't think it's going to hold, guys. This is, again, who knows? Could be wrong. But this is how I think Bitcoin's going to be adopted. I think this is the most directionally accurate model that I've seen in the Bitcoin space. I think you're going to hit an inflection point on Bitcoin's S-curve, and all of a sudden you're going to go from 2 trillion to 5 trillion, from 5 trillion to 20 trillion, much quicker than most people think. That's purely because Bitcoin is so rare and it's so scarce, and I think it's going to really surprise a lot of people. The Starlink's coming, guys. I apologize if the internet's trash. I need to seriously lift. I'm on hotel Wi-Fi today, so I apologize in advance if the internet is terrible. But again, what I will say is just prepare for the S-curve moment. I believe there will be an S-curve moment in Bitcoin. And I think it's, I don't know what, I like to speculate. I think it's coming much quicker than most people think. Now, again, you cannot enjoy parabolas or any of these videos talking about how bullish things could get and how we could retire early on Bitcoin if you're still holding Bitcoin on an exchange. Because I always tell you, if you're holding Bitcoin on an exchange, you do not hold Bitcoin. That's why I always tell you, go get your hands on some of these. These are Bitcoin hardware wallets. I've got a ton of different hardware wallets. I've literally tried all of them. I've got Bitboxes. I've got Ledgers, Trezors, Cold Cards. I've got hardware wallets coming out of the wazoo. I get it. There's a lot of different strokes for a lot of different folks. But again, if you want to actually retire on Bitcoin, you need to be able to hold the real thing yourself. I wouldn't be trusting CZ Binance with your Bitcoin. That guy should not be trusted. Nobody should be trusted. And that is the revolution of Bitcoin. You don't trust anyone. So again, if you haven't got a hardware wallet yet, if you've been sleeping, you can go grab a hardware wallet from Trezor. They've got some really great products, some really great options. I've personally got my hands on a Trezor Safe 5 right now. That's what I'm holding right now. This is a cool little touchscreen hardware wallet. You can see that it's mine because look at how dirty that screen is. This puppy goes with me everywhere. This is my fun hardware wallet. And again, this thing, all of the hardware wallets from Trezor, fully open source code base. So if you want to go verify every line of code to check that your hardware wallet is a 150% secure, you can do that. And Trezor's even going to give you guys 5% off if you use promo code Luke, Luke. And again, if you want to get your hands on a Ledger, for example, these guys also have some touchscreen hardware wallets and some smaller, more compact ones for you guys. And they're going to give you $10 of free Bitcoin if you use the link down below in the description. Again, Ledger and Trezor, both of them have been around since 2013. And they're both incredibly easy to use for beginners. That's why I like both of them. There's a lot of hardware wallets. Some are a little bit more difficult to use. Trust me. I've spent many an hour pulling hair out trying to figure out some of the more complicated hardware wallets. But again, lots of different options for you guys to check out. And it is essential that you do put your own Bitcoin into your own self-custody, because when Bitcoin starts catching up to gold, it's going to start getting really chaotic out there. It's going to start getting crazy. I think a lot of people are going to be left on the sidelines with inferior, insecure Bitcoin hardware setups. I know a lot of people might be sitting on like 0.1 Bitcoin today. It's $12,000. And they think, yeah, you know what's $12,000? I don't care. You know, I've got it on Coinbase. It's convenient. It's easy. But they're not thinking about how quickly Bitcoin rallies in bull markets. Again, in 2017, Bitcoin 20x'd in 9 months. If that were to happen again, your $12,000 would turn into like $250,000 in 9 months. And then all of a sudden, if you're sitting on $250,000 on Coinbase, trusting Baldylocks, Brian Armstrong, you've got problems, my friend. Let me tell you that. You have problems. That's why I always advocate for you guys just to self-custody your Bitcoin. Okay, do it early, do it soon. I think another essential tool in your Bitcoin self-custody setup is titanium plates. Because so many people buy a hardware wallet like one of these and they think the race is won. They write down their 12 or 24 words on paper. You guys know what I always tell you. Paper is not fireproof, hurricane-proof, or even life-proof. That's why I always tell you guys to check out the titanium plates that Stampseed makes. They are the industry standard. They've even come out with a cute and compact, that's right, it's cute, 12-word seed plate. So it's even smaller, even more compactful, I hope that's a word, than the 24-word plates. And again, as always, Stampseed's going to give you guys 15% off anything you want to buy from their store with a promo code Luke15. So take advantage of that, and please prepare yourself for this bull run. I like to say it a lot. I like to say, turn off my bullish videos if you do not have your Bitcoin secured the way it should be secured. Because we shouldn't be getting bullish, talking about retiring on Bitcoin, talking about the price action of Bitcoin, unless you've actually custodied the thing the way it needs to be custodied first. That's the most important thing about Bitcoin. Bitcoin, it's a financial revolution, but it's only a financial revolution if you're actually holding it with sovereignty. And I think I was drawing this chart for someone at dinner the other night. I think we're now entering one of those 6 to 9 month windows. Again, have a look at the red boxes where things start to go parabolic and things change really quickly. What's the quote? There are decades where nothing happens, but then there are days where decades happen. We're entering that time, guys. I think we're entering that time where Bitcoin is about to go absolutely parabolic. And a lot of people are going to get caught on the sidelines. A lot of people are going to be caught with their pants down, trusting Sam Bankman-Fried. Now is not the time to be sitting on your hands, to be sitting silently. I showed you guys this one the other day. The Bollinger Bands for Bitcoin, the monthly Bollinger Bands have never been this tight. If you believe in all of these tea leaf reading indicators, that would just suggest that we're about to see an incredibly volatile move. I don't think we're going to see that to the downside. We could be wrong. I just don't think so. I think it's going to be to the upside. I think it's going to be more bullish than most people could ever imagine. So again, prepare for the bull run. I don't think the accelerationists are wrong. I think accelerationism is going to happen. I even think it's a good thing. Let the Western world melt down. They're going to have no idea. Again, just prepare yourself, look after yourself, learn how to use all of the tools in Bitcoin. Again, when Bitcoin rallies aggressively, please don't panic sell your Bitcoin, lock in your profits. You don't need to do that. There are more, let's say, economically superior ways for you guys to go about unlocking the liquidity of your Bitcoin. Again, if you if you sell your Bitcoin, you have to pay capital gains taxes in most countries. I really like Firefish because they're a borrowing platform. They're a Bitcoin peer-to-peer marketplace that uses multi-signature vaults. And you can see how easy it is to navigate over here to the borrow section of their platform, hit instant loan, and you can instantly put in the terms and conditions that you want on a loan to borrow against your Bitcoin. Sometimes you can get cash paid to your bank account, or you can get stable coins. This depends upon what country you're living in. But I think Firefish is a tool that you guys need to learn to use in bull runs. Again, borrow with very responsible leverage. But I think a platform like this can help you avoid selling too much and having to give too much to Uncle Sam, so to say. All Night Hiders slapped the link to Firefish in the live stream chat, and they're going to give you a 30% discount, 30% discount on your fees on your first loan if you use a promo code Luke. Again, that's a serious discount. Take advantage of it this Bitcoin bull run. And don't get caught with your pants down. Oh God, I hope there's no mirror in here. This is a brand new hotel room. Apologies if I flashed everyone. I have pants on, I'm just free balling. All right, before I get off track, with all that said, I got 750 of you guys in this live stream on a Saturday afternoon. Well, it's Saturday night, actually, where I am. I hope you're enjoying this one. Please be prepared. Again, we had a lot of speculation today about Amazon and, Microsoft FOMOing into Bitcoin and Google. But again, when we have a look at what Michael Saylor's done to his own treasury over at MicroStrategy, right now it's number 9 in the world's largest treasuries in the world. So that means there's only 9 companies with more cash in their savings account on their treasury. Meta, Ford, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and Berkshire melting ice cube Hathaway. And then we have little old Strategy with $78 billion of Bitcoin in their treasury. It's only a matter of time before Amazon and Google are forced to adopt Bitcoin. I think that day is coming sooner than you think. Stay frosty out there over the next couple of months as Bitcoin begins rallying parabolically. Is that a word? I think we're going to see a lot of headlines that's going to catch a lot of normies offside. But I'm sure all you guys on the stream won't be surprised and you won't make any foolish decisions in this Bitcoin bull run. And with that said, I wish you a happy weekend. I'll see you guys all in another live stream. Have a good one.